Morning. It is the 21st of June, Tuesday, back from my run. I was in Texas, I was in Tennessee, I was in Mississippi. Got to go see a lot of people I do business with, got to hang out with a lot of huge business leaders. Also, kind of get a feel for what's going on in the markets, which we will hit in a minute. But first off, what we need to talk about right now has to do with something that's coming up very, very, very soon. So those of you who are in the Phoenix area or close to it, you don't have to be right in the Phoenix area, but close to it, go to endofslaverytour.com right there, endofslaverytour.com. We've got, Unity Park and Tim Ballard up here in the upper right-hand corner is your buy now button. You want to get some tickets for this thing. I think it's like $15. Get you in there. It is sponsored, of course, by the Fenton Family Foundation and myself. I am also the MC for the tour. So that's the other reason I want you to be there, so we can hang out a little bit, maybe chat. Unfortunately, I get yanked all over the place while I'm there. Not as easy to converse when I'm there on site, but it gives me an opportunity to connect with you if I haven't seen you face to face, which a lot of you I haven't, unfortunately. When the pandemic hit, things got locked down, of course, as we know. It was not traveling like I used to. I used to be at all kinds of events, get to put face to names a lot. And I miss that. That's where this last thing was kind of cool. But man, not being on the road is as well. I've been on the road a lot. We do know that. But this long run of 10 days in multiple different markets, that had a way of beating me up pretty good, but it was a really good time. Got to really chat with a lot of people. So today, let's chat a little bit about what we're dealing with right now. There was coined way back in the 18th century, a British nobleman by the name of Baron Rothschild. He was credited for saying the time to buy is when there's blood in the streets. Well, he should know, because he made a fortune buying in a panic that followed the Battle of Waterloo against Napoleon. So there's a big story behind that, how he had knowledge of things ahead of time. He played the market pretty well, but the original quote, as I understand it, was buy when there's blood in the streets, even when the blood is your own, right? Sometimes we're going to take a beating. It's possible, but it doesn't mean you stop, right? If you stop right then, you're going to bleed out. You keep going because you're going to, when there's blood in the streets and you got hurt, maybe there's opportunity there that's going to make up for that hurt that you took, right? It's a little bit of a contrarian investing thought process, but it's a really strongly held belief that the worst things they're seen in the market at that time are actually a great opportunity for profit. So what I've also heard, Warren Buffett was saying that you pay a very high price in the stock market for a cheery consensus. In other words, if everyone agrees with what your investment decision is, it's a good chance you're probably not making a good one. So a lot of people just want winners in their portfolio, but sometimes you're looking at a winner you don't realize is a winner. That's what we talk a lot about here with, being able to calculate things, right? So with the rates going down, right? When they were going down, affordability was going up. Everybody had the ability to buy more, right? But with that, there was more people in the market with affordability out there to go buy things, right? So we had jumps in the housing market. And what's funny, when you really run the numbers on it, the end deal was probably close to the same, because you paid so much more for a house, especially if you're a home buyer in markets like Phoenix and everywhere else. There's a lot of markets where it's jumping like crazy. You're paying more for the house, but you got this lower rate. When you really get down to it, you may have bought the exact same house you could have gotten with a higher interest rate and a lower price. They kind of equal themselves out. There's a little bit of an equilibrium in the market. It may be not exactly that, but it's probably pretty close. So right now, with interest rates rising, we're starting to see houses come in a little bit lower. There's not as many bids. They're having to drop the prices. It's happening a lot more often than we thought, or at least than we'd seen in the past. Things are still going to stay up there. I don't personally believe we're going to see a massive crash like we saw in 2008, because there's still this massive shortage of housing, but you're not going to have people bidding it up like you were. Since that's the case, let's factor in, 10, 15% differential, which I've seen it even higher than that, sometimes 20%, that you're not going to have to pay. And what does that equal out to, and what your payment's going to be with a higher interest rate? That's something to consider and put some time and energy into. I was just in Texas, like I said, Tennessee and Mississippi, talking to a lot of people that sell houses, and they're saying there's a lot of houses they've had on the market they don't have as many bids on right now. They're still selling them, they're still getting them out, but they don't have those bids where they can make a massive profit like they were making before. So what that tells me is, no matter what's going on in the market, you're going to give that money somewhere, right? You're either going to give it up in the rate, or you're going to give it up to the person selling the house. One way or another, you're giving that money somewhere. And they're both going to be stretched over time. One gives you a better write-off than the other. Well, it's, yeah, they all kind of give you some sort of ride. You get the depreciation, all that kind of stuff. But in reality, my thought here is you get really caught up in the wrong stuff. Think back during the time when rates were extremely low, right? On the sales side, when you're dealing with a realtor, there's like, that's just the market. You got to bid of 30,000 over list just to get in the game. They had no problem doing that and telling you that's the way the market works. But flip it around, the interest rates start going up. Now all of a sudden you get, well, you need to shop around and find a better rate. Well, come on, guys. The rates are what the rates are. There's shopping. All the shopping is going to do in today's market is going to put you further and further and further out in the market, getting a higher and higher interest rate because things are moving so quickly. Find the people you want to work with, stick with those people, make sure they're taking care of you. It doesn't have to be me. It doesn't have to be my team. If you don't like us, you don't like us. That's fine. We don't need to work with people who do not like working with us. I'm just telling you, find somebody that you like to work with and stick with them. Now, everybody keeps asking me if rates are going to go down. Hell if I know. Honestly, I don't know. But there's an interesting thing going on right now in the market. In fact, I'm going to pull up another screenshot here for us to look at. Take me a second here because I'm all over the screens. Now, take a look at this. I just did a Google search for China run on the banks, right? And you start seeing, as in the last 24 hours, there's a run on the banks in China. There's some stuff going on out there. It's kind of a mess, right? Got protesters, got all these things going on, long lines out there. This is just happening right now. So why do I talk about that? Well, the reason I'm bringing that up is because if there's a problem happening over there, they need to park the money somewhere. There's speculation that they may, some of that money may make its way over into the U.S. bond market. If they make it over into the U.S. bond market, have those long-term bonds, there's a good chance that could possibly bring down rates. I don't know if that's the case. I can't hang my hat on that, and I'm not going to hang my hat on that, right? We still have a massive inflation problem. We still got to unravel that. It could stabilize, right? There's a chance. We're looking at the market right now, and we see this massive decline, right? This all decline. Everything in here in this decline had to do with all the inflation meetings, right? Inflation is the enemy to bonds, and if it's dragging the bonds down, because again, they're putting out their money for a long period of time, right? Getting it back over a long period of time, and if the burn rate on that money is high, you see what ends up happening to them not wanting to be into some sort of instrument that's going to take a long time to get their money back. But we've seen a little bit of stabilization here. It looks like, I hope, because we got punched in the face with where inflation is. Everybody thought it was going to be lower than it was. And now realization settled in. They're back into what hopefully is some equilibrium. I don't know how long it's going to last. Look, it lasted this long and then dropped straight down to the trend line. It's going to go back up here. We may go out here a little bit and then drop down to the trend line again. That might be the way we do things. If that's the case, you want to start locking. I've been talking about locking anyway. You want to be locking here. If you've got a transaction in process and we can close it in that lock time frame, that's the other risk. Don't be trying to lock it when you can't close it in the time frame. Man, we got problems right now coming out of our ears with locks when the deals aren't being met as far as the time frame is concerned from the property side. So a lot to think about, a lot to work through. Talk to us, call us, schedule meetings, talk to myself, Scotty, Ellen, Carla, Sandra, talk to somebody on the team, and we can see if we can help start at least strategize how we go about your deal. It ain't gonna be perfect, but we're gonna put all the best minds we've got to see if we can make sure it's the best we can do for what we have in front of us. Keep close eye on what we're bringing here. We'll be back at you guys on Friday.